Will adding new ships to Elite Dangerous Odyssey save the game? Back on December 14, 2014, Elite Dangerous went live. Consistently, year after year, up until December 11, 2018, Fdev pumped out new ships for players to enjoy. Now this was all before my time because I actually had no idea that Elite Dangerous even existed. I was actually into No Man's Sky back then, but one fateful day, YouTube recommended an Obsidian Ant video about some insane space game that was dangerous, but also seemed to quench my desire to find a more realistic space game, to bring me closer to my dream of being an astronaut. Needless to say, after watching his video on June 14, 2019, I dropped $60 on the Elite Dangerous Commander Deluxe Edition. I immediately jumped right into the game, and within about 30 minutes, I almost requested a refund through Steam. Yeah, true story. Now, had I done that out of frustration, I would have missed out on countless adventures that led to many lasting friendships. When I first started playing Elite Dangerous, it was about 6 months after Fdev stopped releasing new ships on a regular basis. It could realistically happen at any time, but for me, I was just trying to learn how to play the freaking game. There were already tons of ships for me to buy and try out, and they all seemed to be suited for a purpose. Not a single commander who played back then could fully understand that no more new spaceships would be added to Elite Dangerous until 2024. Days turned into weeks that accumulated into months, then into years. This is a space game centered around ships. Well, it was until the Odyssey expansion landed on May 19, 2021. The Odyssey expansion was an attempt to meld the on-foot experience with the spaceship experience. And after Odyssey, there was an update to fleet carriers that allowed commanders to fully walk around the inside of their massive spaceship. The interiors were compartmentalized in such a way that if you added a bay to your fleet carrier, it would have that bay physicalized for you to walk around and interact with. At this point, I feel most commanders believe that ship interiors could someday become a reality. Don't get me wrong, ship interiors would be a godsend, but what I would love most of all are a few new ships to play around with. You know, while inhaling metric tons of hopium, hoping for ship interiors or on-foot combat with the Thargoids themselves. However, I would settle for a few new ships that are mostly purpose-built for certain tasks. As a member of the Elite Dangerous Partner Program, I am tossed a crumb of information from time to time. When I first received the email about 4 new purpose-built ships coming to Elite Dangerous in 2024, I was extremely excited to say the least. Especially when it has to do with my very favorite ship in the game, the glorious Python, Mark II, is going to be right up my alley, I can assure you. I don't really care what its purpose is going to be, I'm going to fly the hell out of it the very second I can get my hands on it. In all my years of playing Elite Dangerous, I never got to experience what it was like to have new spaceships added to the game on a regular basis. Once I started making content, it was obvious to me that everyone and their brothers, uncles, cousins, former roommates were either talking about or consistently playing Elite Dangerous as their chosen space game. The views were absolutely ridiculous during that time. So why was Elite Dangerous so popular back then? This was before Odyssey or even fleet carriers were introduced. Quite simply put, it was the consistent addition of new ships to the game. Each seemed to have a specific purpose, although you can mix and match the interiors to suit your needs. Then of course you're gonna have to get into the engineering loop grind in order to make your favorite ships even more godly. The next thing you realize is that you have spent thousands of hours playing in order to pimp out that next new ship, but eventually you run out of ships you want to pimp, even though you have billions of credits. Now I was at the pimp my ships limit just before Odyssey landed, so it was an easy leap right into pimping out all my weapons and suits for ground stuff, but then I burned through that too. The main gameplay loop ultimately revolves around having a decent ship, weapon, or suit you like, then making it as glorious as possible through engineering. The thing is, I lost touch with how I first fell in love with Elite Dangerous. It wasn't the engineering grind or making piles of space cash, it was simply flying a ship I loved, just exploring space, seeing what my ship and I could discover in the vastness of the Milky Way galaxy. That is where the magic of Elite Dangerous can be found. For a new player to Elite Dangerous, you will have years of enjoyment finding your perfect ship to eventually engineer. For us old players in Elite, these new ships can be that rekindling of what we love most, to experience Elite Dangerous gameplay in a brand new ship. Something I have personally taken for granted all these years is about to be a reality for everyone. 2024 not only marks the 40th anniversary of Elite itself, it also means Elite Dangerous the game has been around for a decade. Update 18 should be released on the 26th of February, which is the accumulation of the Thargoid War. Update 29 will land sometime in the summer of 2024, which will revamp the power play system in the game. But realistically, Commanders, the one thing I'm looking forward to the most are the 4 new ship variants that are coming sometime in 2024. Everything else is basically Charlie Brown's parents to me, because I'm mostly here to experience the game with new ships for the very first time in Elite Dangerous. So what do you think is the most important announcement you're looking forward to? Are you excited to finally have some new ships to play with? Are you excited for the new power play system to be implemented into Elite? Seriously, how excited are you to finally be done with the Thargoid War? If I had to choose one thing to be the most excited about, you better believe it's going to be the addition of at least 4 new ships this year. Seriously, in my opinion, Fdev can easily turn around their troubled times if they design new ships as their primary focus and then game loops surrounding those specific ships. It really is a no-brainer considering Star Citizen has made over 600 million selling fake little ships to their customers. Fdev doesn't have to adopt their business model of charging for ships because people will fall all over themselves to buy Elite Dangerous just like I did back in the day. I was blown away with how many ships I would have access to by simply forking out $60. I'm not kidding when I say I spent that $60 faster than I have ever spent $60 before, and all it took was one single Obsidian Ant video. Ultimately, I really hope that Fdev starts with these 4 new ship variants, then presses forward with designing new ships that can further meld the on-foot with the ship experience. As of now, the Odyssey experience still feels like a separated game within a game. Having ships that are designed for, say, exobiology, or creating a mining game loop that involves both new ships and ground-based vehicles together for team gameplay. Heck, the sky's the limit when you create purpose-built ships designed around a new gameplay element. If you made it this far into the video, now is the time I give back to you, the viewer. Recently, I achieved the 100k subscribers milestone on YouTube. A lot of part and due to my legion of dedicated Elite Dangerous players, so thank you very much. Fdev hooked me up with 5 ice sheet paint jobs to give away. Down in the comments, let me know your favorite adventure in Elite Dangerous. I will pick my 5 favorite comments and give them the skins for free. Good luck, everyone. But seriously, do you think adding new ships again on a constant basis to Elite Dangerous will help save our beloved game? Let me know how you feel down below.